Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to day 2, continuing action of the 2015 Mayday Mayhem tournament coming out of Loveland, Colorado, here at the ranch at the Budweiser Event Center. My name is Ms. Communication.
My name is Wilhelm Screen.
And you are tuning in here to all of the action on ColoradoSports.TV. We are getting ready to start our first of 3 men's games here at Mayday Mayhem. We have 3 men's teams in the house. We have San Diego's Aftershock, Uinta Madness's Mountain State's Cutthroat Mafia, and then also later on today we will see Denver's Ground Control come up and play here in Loveland.
Yeah, great opportunity to watch some men's derby. Good playing teams. We got a team that's ranked 13th in MRDA coming into this tournament. A team that's ranked 32nd as well. That's actually what we're going to be seeing right now is San Diego ranked 13, Uinta coming in at 32. But the men's game, you never know. The rankings don't necessarily apply to what you're actually going to see on the track.
Real fast, folks, we're going to go over your rosters playing today for the Uinta Madness. We've got number 1111, Quadricorn, number 1313, Hauntor, number 175, Cher, 1864 is Khan, or his jersey says Can on it today. 3 is Fuzz. 420 is Milk Toast. 570 is Inthane. Number 7 is Robo. 70 is Chevelle Bob. 725 is Mr. Beast. 77 is Serious Blackout. 7734, Herman Hellville. Number 9 is Panamaniac. And LTW8 is, as always, Mr. Testosterone.
And playing for the San Diego Aftershock today, we've got number 121, Bobby Light. 126, Lambo R. Fides. 18, Michael C. Number 1966, Austin. Number 3, Boo. 3158, B-Stang. Number 417, Payback. Number 50, Johnny Guns. 515, Just Mike. Number 77, Baby J. Number 777, Lucky Bastard. Number 78, T-Dog. And number 93, Waterboy.
We are getting ready here for this great matchup between the Aftershock and Uinta Madness. Period clock has been started to 30, but it appears that we are taking some time on the track to get things put together. Guest bench coaching for the Aftershock is actually Boulder County's own Trixie Von Teese. She came up today to help them out on the bench. A few quick facts about the Uinta Madness. This is their second appearance at Mayday Mayhem. They came last year and went 2-3 last year. We had a few more men's teams last year than we do this year, and that 2-3 record was great. But the interesting thing that has happened now with Uinta Madness, at the beginning of the year, they decided to merge with the Capital City Skull Crushers from Boise, Idaho. So it's an amalgamation of 2 great teams, and I believe we have yet to see the new combined teams play. I know Uinta played against Denver's Ground Control last year, but I believe they hadn't combined yet.
Hadn't combined yet, and this is actually the first sanctioned game for Uinta in this year. On the other side, San Diego, they've already played 2 sanctioned games. This is actually their second tournament of the year. They were at the How the West Was Won tournament, took down both the Rattle-Skates and the Drive-By City Rollers. Scores 195 to 168 against the Rattle-Skates, 182 to 107 against the Drive-By City Rollers. Also, they earlier came back from a 70-point deficit to beat Arizona, then followed up by losing to number 4 Puget by 124. So they're not unfamiliar with large point swings and large point gaps. That will help them if they find themselves in a situation where they're either down or even up by a lot of points.
We've got the Shocks doing their chant, and we've got Uinta Madness lining up in a line here. I believe we're going to go ahead and get some checks of numbers from the NSOs.
For those of you that are watching from the comfort of your house and the couch that you have set up in front of your computer, Aftershocks are going to be in the white with red and black. Uinta in black with the blue.
Black and blue. Good color coordination for roller derby.
Definitely in general, and certainly with men's games, the physicality that you usually see in a men's game, the black and blue just comes out. It's nice that they can disguise their bruises underneath their jerseys.
We have some The guy's skating up to the announcer booth to say hi. Hontor says, "Hi, Mom." I promise I'll call you for Mother's Day tomorrow. Folks, while we are getting ready, the perfect Mother's Day present that you can give is to donate in your mother's name to the ColoradoSports.TV broadcast. We are providing this for you not behind a paywall this weekend, but for free, and it absolutely is not free for us to put on. So please click that Donate Now button. I have been recommending $5 per day is a reasonable donation, but you can certainly give us all of your money.
And, you know, after you've given that donation on behalf of Mom, then make sure you tune in for the rest of the day and tune in tomorrow, because Mom loves Junior Derby, and tomorrow there's going to be Junior Derby played here at Mayday Mayhem 2015.
It's Man Derby Day today and Junior Derby tomorrow, and of course that huge we are running off that World Cup style tournament with the women. We are getting lined up here for the first jam. Just a reminder to our audience, we as announcers face the jam line, so we will get you the jammers as soon as we know who they are. One of our sponsors this weekend is Derby Supply High Altitude. They are the providers of the very first ever Mayday Mayhem all-around tournament MVP, which will be awarded tomorrow, Sunday. Again, Derby Supply High Altitude. You can find them online, free shipping at www.derbysupply.net.
Up to the jet line first for the Aftershock to Beasting. And out there jamming for...
Looks like we've got Beastang jamming first for San Diego.
And that's Mr. Testosterone, number LTW8. He is the first lead jammer. Beastang nudged to the infield. He keeps one skate in and one skate out. Recycles to the back of the pack. Testosterone, though, through the pack and calls off the jam, holding Beastang to no points.
Yeah, might have felt like a little bit of an early call-off, given that Beastang was still inside of the pack. But when you've got someone of the skill level of Beastang, you don't want to lure him out. You don't want to take that chance. Just take your points, call it off right away. You know, and right now, Mafia with a 5-0 lead over the Aftershocks.
Basically, Mr. Testosterone says, I'll cut you, but only just a little. 5-0, 29-10 here in the first half of our second game on the first track of Mayday Mayhem. Around the outside, we've got number 126 the Aftershock. That's Lambo Arfides. He is lead jammer.
Uinta's countering with Fuzz, but Fuzz having a little bit of difficulty at the front of the pack. He is tangling with Boo. Finally fights free. Number 3 against number 3.
Lambo through the pack, calls off the jam. And that's 4-0 in that jam. It brings our score now to a 1-point game. Mafia just barely on top, 5-4, 28-28 left in the first period. You know, one of the things that I absolutely love about roller derby is that men's derby runs so fast and hits so hard that I almost kind of go cross-eyed the first couple of jams that I'm watching it before I can figure out how to explain it.
Yeah, it's trying to keep pace because they are very quick, and unlike the women's game, you'll see the men's game often stretch out a lot more. Serious Blackout, number 77, on his way to the penalty box thanks to a multiplayer block call. That's going to knock the Mafia down to only 3 blockers, and that gives San Diego lead jammer status.
That's number 93, Waterboy, wearing the star for the Aftershocks, and that's 1111 Quadracon for Uinta.
And
Quadracon picking up a track cut penalty. This will be a power play in favor of the Aftershocks.
And Power Jam is eliminated by Hontor because we've got Waterboy also picking up a track cut. Good force by Hontor, getting that track cut call. That's going to equalize and switch the jam penalty. Also, for a short time, it's been equal on the track with blockers because both 77s were in the penalty box. But we've got Quadracorn back on the track now, completing this power jam. It's going to be a short-lived power jam for the Mafia.
46 seconds left in the jam. We've got Quadracon out on his scoring pass. Waterboy back in the pack. I believe he did not complete his initial pass, but he has now. Big hits off of turn 3 as Quadricon fights his way through that wall of white and red. He gets banged out to the outfield. He's going to force to be recycled to the back.
Yeah, meanwhile, Waterboy already grabbing 5 more points for San Diego and the Aftershocks. They've been starting to take a little bit of control, at least in the early going. 4 points grabbed right there. That's going to help the Aftershocks build a little bit more on the lead they're starting to establish.
Cutthroat Mafia losing a block or two, the penalty box. A big melee between turns 3 and 4. Waterboy picks up that 5th jammer lap point and calls off the jam. We've got 4 points for Quadricon. Total of 14-4 on that jam. 18-9 Aftershocks on top right now. 25 minutes left in the first half.
And very quickly off the jam line, that is B. Stang taking lead jammer status for the Aftershocks. But he is being tailed pretty quickly by Mr. Testosterone.
Mr. Testosterone with a huge jump, but he ends up sliding out of bounds.
It was one of those, he had the landing, but his momentum, the speed, took him completely off the track. Actually opened up an opportunity for B-Stang, but B-Stang is willing to keep pushing this. He's got 4 points already, and he's just going to keep running with it.
5 additional points for B-Stang as he re-engages with the pack, slams into a blocker. Mr. Testosterone trying to take a leap, and once again not completing that, landing out of bounds. B-Stang with a huge jammer-on-jammer joust at the back of the pack. Staying on the inside, goes ahead and calls off the jam. He picks up another 4 points.
Mr. Testosterone had thought for a moment, I'm going to stand in this guy's way. I'm going to play a little defense. That was maybe not the best idea because B-Stang was coming in with a huge head of steam and just collided face to face, and Mr. Testosterone was definitely feeling it on his backside.
Yeah, I have a sympathetic ache in pain. 17 points for B-Stang in that last jam, 8 for Mr. Testosterone. 35-17 jam is once again in play. We've got 1 blocker in the box for Uinta, fighting up at the top of the pack. We have an out-of-play penalty being assessed to number 515, Just Mike, as Uinta's jammer out and lead.
Now that is number 3, Fuzz. Fuzz picking up lead jammer. We've got Lambo Arfides trying to catch him for the Aftershock. Fuzz grabs quick 4 points, calls off the jam.
Lambo with a big hit on the end against Uinta's pivot. We've got 4 points on the board for the Shocks. 4 points on the board for Uinta.
And Lambo should have been a little more careful with that hit. He's picked up a misconduct penalty at the end of that jam. That means that Uinta's going to start out in a power jam situation. And looks like they're sending Quadricorn to the jam line, if I'm seeing the numbers on the sleeve correctly. But this is a good opportunity for the Mafia. They're only down by 14. A good chance for them to get back in.
Quadricron knocked to the infield by number 78, T-Dog. He's forced to reset. Makes quick work, though, with that only 2 blockers out there for the Aftershocks right now. Lead jammer, Cutthroat Mafia.
And T-Dog's making the trip around towards the penalty box. Appears that he was actually waiting for his turn. So, given that you can only have 2 people sitting in the penalty box at a time as blockers, there was no room for him before. He had to wait, knock down when one of those chairs opened up. So for a short time, there was only 1 blocker on the box.
Quadricorn up at the top of the pack, fighting his way around. He does pick up his 5 points. Power play has ended as number 126, Lambo Arfides, back in and ready to score. Quadricorn backing it up all the way back behind B-Stang. B-Stang wearing the blue socks with his black and red outfit. We've got 1 point snuck in there by Lambo Arfides, 3 on that pass for Quadricorn, 8-1, net gain of 7 for the Mafia, and we have a 7-point game, 29-36, 21 minutes left in the first half.
Yeah, Quadricorn was taking a little bit of a leisurely roll back in after taking some serious abuse to knock him out. didn't really seem to be aware that Lambo Arfides was coming around hot and was on a scoring pass. Did finally get it, but not before 1 point was picked up by the Aftershocks.
Jam is in play. That's number 3, Fuzz, getting knocked to the outfield. And number 93 for the Aftershocks is going to head out to the penalty box for a penalty.
And with Waterball going to the penalty box, that makes this a power jam once again for Uinta. And Fuzz picking up lead jammer status for the Mountain States Cutthroat Mafia. Again, very close game. Good chance for them to get back in. We're watching as Fuzz is trying to weave out in and gets bumped to the outside by number 18, Michael C. Calls off the jam from the outside. 2 points. And they're going to continue this power jam in the next jam. Score is currently 36-31. Just about 20 minutes, 45 seconds left in the first half.
Fuzz calling that off with the 2 points, and Uinta fielding Mr. Testosterone in this power jam. Right now, Waterboy still seated in the penalty box, so we've still got plenty of penalty time ready. Uinta opening up the door right at the beginning of the jam. And pushing the wall in, finding a place for Mr. Testosterone to sneak through on the line. Lead jammer, Uinta. Uinta right now garnering lead jammer status 4 times in a row, Wilhelm Scream.
Well, one of the interesting things about that was they were pretty much telling San Diego, this is where he's going to go. He's going to go on the inside line, and San Diego just couldn't stop it from happening. 5 points grabbed. And if my math is correct, that leads us to a tie score, 36-36.
20 minutes remaining here in our first half of our first men's game here at the second day of our 5th annual Mayday Mayhem tournament. If you are enjoying the action here on Track 1, make sure you click that Donate Now button. A lot of electric action right now. Uinta really managing the Aftershocks right now. Hopefully they can continue that and pull out the win. That's number 3, Fuzz, up at the top of the pack, and he becomes lead jammer.
And then Fuzz takes a big hit from B-Stang. B-Stang goes down. Looks like he's indicating he might have gotten hit up high. But Fuzz right now lead jammer. B-Stang very slow to get back on the track.
B-Stang quite slow to get back on the track. He's sloping down on the straightaway. Fuzz being recycled back behind number 417 at payback. B-Stang with the handoff to his pivot. 126 Lambo Arfides coming in from the penalty box. And Lambo out, ready to score, of course, not eligible for lead. And Fuzz heads to the penalty box for a track cut.
That's going to make this a power jam now in favor of San Diego. And Bobby Light going to try and take advantage. Cher gets pushed to the outside. I believe that was B-Stang making the contact. So we know that whatever happened, it's not serious enough to keep him from laying down some heavy hits of his own.
Cher, the only one to beat, and Lambo Arfides is out, and with 5 points for the Shocks, that will go ahead and give us our second lead change of the game. Lambo Arfides battling at the top of the pack as Fuzz is back in. 10 total power points on that power play for the Aftershocks. Fuzz was on a scoring pass when he went to the box, so we should see 5 points put up for him. Lambo Arfides still in the fray. 13 seconds left in the jam. Fides out.
He's sneaking around. Looks like there was a little bit of tangle up of feet on behalf of the Uinta blockers. Got tripped over themselves, creating that opportunity for the Aftershock jammer to find that opening around the outside. 3 more points picked up by Fuzz before the jam expires. 14-8
total in advantage to the Aftershocks, 50-44. Shocks right now taking a 6-point lead. I'm gonna say it now. The jammer does not need to go to the penalty box. When you are Uinta and you are ranked presently 32nd in the MRDA and you are playing the San Diego Aftershocks, who are ranked 13 with 2 explosive wins already this year, your jammer cannot go to the box.
And by the same token, when their jammer goes to the box, you really need to take advantage of those power jams. You need to find a way to not just get stifled down and only maybe pick up 5 points.
Official review being called right now for the Aftershocks.
We've also got a Facebook contest.
Cher coming over and gracing us with his presence here in front of the dais while we wait for the official review to be determined. This is a great time to let you know that Derby Supply High Altitude, located in Colorado Springs, one of our great sponsors here at Mayday Mayhem, they offer bearings, skate cleaning, they do vinyl decals and customization. All of your Derby gear needs, derbysupply.net. They offer free shipping. Derby Supply, of course, the first official sponsors of the Derby Supply High Altitude overall MVP, which will be awarded tomorrow, Sunday, to someone participating from the women's portion of our tournament.
And if Derby Supply, if you're looking for roller skates for whatever your needs, contact Derby Supply. For example, if you're putting on a production of Xanadu. And if you are putting on a production of Xanadu, you might want to contact Beastang because he's been in it.
He has been in Xanadu.
And you may, if you are familiar with men's derby overall, you may recognize Beastang. He's also part of Your Mom. He skated with the Your Mom men's derby out of Des Moines, Iowa. I believe now 3-time repeat champions of the MRDA. So he's got a lot of experience overall. He might be part of why San Diego's been climbing, but they've got a strong team, as has been shown so far. Even, Beastang's on the track, they get points, things happen. Beastang's off the track, they get points, things happen. And that's just how the game is developing overall. The teams, it's in men's derby, you're not seeing a lot of one star really driving the entire team.
Officials presently bringing back the result of their official review. I don't believe we have an alt ref that is sharing information with us, but we will certainly find out right now. I believe that because the penalty box was empty, they were probably asking for a call.
And I wouldn't be surprised if it was related to the high block that was not called against Beastang, but we'll see what the result is.
You are correct, actually. They were asking for a high block call on number 420, Milk Toast. They did lose their single official review, though. The no call stands. Back to the action on the track. That's Mr. Testosterone with the star and lead jammer status for Uinta.
I just found an inside seam. The opening was just there for a split second. Mr. Testosterone just shot through it. On the other side, we've got, as number 126, Lambo Arfides, jamming for the Aftershock, trying to see through. And Mr. Testosterone just pushed the inside, spins himself around. Lambo Arfides did the same thing in the opposite side of the track that Mr. Testosterone did a few jams ago, of jumping the apex and the momentum taking him off the track.
4 points for each jammer, only 2 defenders for the Aftershocks in the pack. 3 additional points for Mr. Testosterone, but Lambo putting on another 2 points net for the Mafia, 7-6. Score now 51-56. Aftershocks with just a 1 Grand Slam lead. 5 points with 15 minutes in the first half.
Yep, neck and neck, and we're also seeing some of the speed of roller derby and the men's side and the number of jams. We're already setting up for jam number 11. We haven't even hit the halfway point of this half.
We've got Fuzz number 3 for Uinta fighting at the top of the pack against those 2 blockers. And his skate was out of bounds when he fell. That's going to be a track cut. He's skating against 93 Waterboy right now on his initial pass through the pack.
And looks like Khan is headed to the penalty box thanks to a multiplayer block, proving that he can sometimes dance a little bit on the outside of the law of roller derby.
Waterboy with 1 left to beat, Cher at the top of the pack. He garners that lead jammer status and calls it off. One of the longer waits that we've had for lead jammer status here in the first half of this game. With that lead jammer status, the Aftershocks breaking a 6-jam lead jammer streak held by the Mafia. You're seeing that reflected in the score right now, 51-56. Aftershocks holding on top with 5 points, and they are going to field B-Stang at number 3158 to finish out this power jam.
And
I would say that would be a good decision on the part of the Aftershocks.
Yeah, and that's clearly why they call off right away is why not send out B-Stang? Why not send out probably the strongest jammer that we have? Let's get as many points as possible. Let's try and open up a gap, get a little breathing room, because right now the Mafia is making the Aftershocks sweat a little bit.
Just Mike clearing the way for B-Stang, and Stang puts up 5 points. He's around the track again as that power jam has ended now. A net of 5 power points for the Aftershocks on that power jam as Fuzz re-enters the pack on his initial pass. 4 additional points for B-Stang.
And B-Stang now taking on the entire 4-wall of Uinta. Does get pushed just to the outside. Decides, you know, I don't feel like going backwards. I'm just going to stand here, call off the jam from where I am, look directly at the ref. That's going to end the jam. Score is 67-51. Just about 13 and a half to go in the first half.
We are seeing some great work by Uinta containing these jammers, but what I'm seeing is the jammers from the Aftershock kind of drawing Uinta to the outside edge of the track and then using their speed to just juke to the inside and find that inside line, becoming lead jammer pretty frequently that way.
Yeah, and definitely they're often doing it at the apex where it is just a little bit easier to have that straight shot towards the inside. If you're at the right corner, there's a big opportunity that's there.
Quadricorn at the top of the pack. Number 1111. We've got the out of play penalty being called on 777 Lucky Bastard. And Quadricorn takes it back. Lead jammer, Uinta. Lambo Arfides, the jammer of record for the Aftershock. We've got a out of play penalty being assessed to Robo for Uinta. And Lambo Arfides out with 4 points for the Mafia.
And Quadricorn got through the pack, grabbed his 4 points, called off the jam. It does seem like once he gets clear of the pack, he's definitely taking a lot of hits, a lot of physicality. It's kind of slowing down. Looks like he's just feeling it a little bit, and sometimes he needs his bench to almost scream at him, please, please, please call off the jam. Let's not allow them to pick up any points.
Official timeout being called right now. Score at 67:55. Clock stalled at 12 minutes and 11 seconds. It appears that the officials are sorting out penalties right now and making sure everything is copacetic there. We have a full penalty box right now for both teams having 2 blockers apiece in that penalty box. We'll have a 2-on-2 pack, and basically that's going to be a massive foot race on the line between those 2 jammers. I see that Uinta has fielded number 420 Milk Toast for the first jam of his for the game. And for the Aftershocks, number 417 is Payback. And he will head to the penalty box for a forearm penalty. Milk Toast, lead jammer.
The new jammers on each side, and that official review or official timeout to figure out the penalties makes sense. There's been a fairly repetitive system of people going to the penalty box, and now we've got, I believe that's a forearm penalty being called against number 515, Just Mike from the Aftershock. So they get a couple blockers back, but they lose one right away. Milk Toast boy took a huge hit, led to that penalty.
And Milk Toast grabbing one of his other players that picks up a multiplayer block. We've got 1:12 left in the jam, and Payback being released on his penalty before Milk Toast makes it to his seat. So we will have a full 30-second penalty on that. Payback now on his initial pass through the pack. Uinta trying to nudge him to the infield, but he remains in and out, and now ready to score.
And he just danced along the inside line. Also, you're noticing the Aftershocks, the blockers are pretty much content to let Payback take care of business all on his own. They're standing and making sure. They are keeping an eye because they do see that Milk Toast boy was standing, wanted to be ready for when he re-entered the fray, and he re-enters and right away gets a greeting from Just Mike that drops him to the outside, forcing him to recycle back.
Milk Toast with a big block, forcing Just Mike to come in and assist his jammer. Milk Toast is on a scoring pass right now coming out of the penalty box, so we should see points come up for him after he exits the pack or 14 seconds, whichever one comes first.
Well, Milk Toast has stepped back to block Payback. Just Mike stepped in, delivered a hit to Milk Toast, and it actually led to Payback going down, and Payback is now on his way to the penalty box thanks to a track cut. That is going to stop this jam. The time expires. So, again, the Mafia going to start out in a power jam situation. Score is currently 75-60. Just under 10 to go in the first half.
8-5 net win for the Aftershocks, but that second penalty is really going to pain the Aftershocks, because, you know, the Mafia can definitely take... Cutthroat Mafia can definitely take advantage of this situation with LTW8, Mr. Testosterone on the line. He's out and lead jammer.
And Mr. Testosterone just started running, found that inside seam, and that seems to be something that he's actively looking for, is the inside. This time he's trying the outside and runs into B-Stang, slowed down. Michael C. on his way to the penalty box for the Aftershock, picking up a multiplayer block penalty. And Mr. Testosterone doing a little dance, doesn't quite succeed, picks up a track cut penalty.
Too much boogie, oogie, oogie in his boogie. He'll sit down for the full 30 seconds, so we've got Payback back in from serving his time. Testosterone was on a scoring pass heading to the box, so we will see points come up, and we've got 1 minute and 15 seconds of men's derby in this marathon jam.
And Payback decided, you know, I spent some time in the penalty box. I don't want to jam in this particular go-around. We're also in a power jam situation, so here, B-Stang, take my star. I want you to have the opportunity to jam. And so now B-Stang trying to find a way through, but he wasn't able to complete the initial pass until after Mr. Testosterone had escaped the penalty box. Finally got around Cher.
Blocking out of bounds, being assessed to Johnny Guns, and Mr. Testosterone still finding his way through on his initial pass. B-Stang on on his scoring pass, 5 points, those points that he was sitting on in the penalty box. Yeah. B-Stang now on also a scoring pass, both of these jammers in a race.
And Mr. Testosterone pushed to the infield once again. Has to take the long skate around the officials. B-Stang dancing the outside line, 1 foots it around, stays on the track, grabs 4 points.
Aftershocks losing blocker number 417, Payback to the penalty box. That's his 3rd penalty in 2 jams, as Mr. Testosterone picks up 4 points and B-Stang answers with 4 of his own. We will see no more points as the jam comes to its natural conclusion. That shakes out 1 point in favor for the Cutthroat Mafia, 9-8. Score now 69-83, 7.5 minutes left in the first period.
And only 14 points separating these two teams. This is huge right now, the way things are currently standing for the Cutthroat Mafia. I mean, 14 points against a team that is ranked pretty highly above them. And they're playing very strong, very, very tight defense. Not a lot of opportunity on either side for a huge pile of points.
That is number 1111, Quadricorn up at the top of the pack. He gets hit to the infield, and jammer number 126, Lambo Arfides. For the Aftershock, he skips over the line, lead jammer, San Diego Aftershock.
Robo had left just enough space, and Lambo Arfides just took advantage, found that opportunity. Back block call being assessed to Quadricorn. That's going to put San Diego back on the power jam. And again, we were talking before that the Mafia really need to find a way to minimize and eliminate jammer penalties. This is not going to help them right now.
Lambo Arfides on his 2nd scoring pass right now. He does get nudged to the infield. We do have a forearm penalty being assessed to a member of the Cutthroat Mafia. That's 7734, Herman Hellville. And Lambo Arfides out and has 5 more points on that Aftershock score.
And that might have been one of those times where it's smart to take the penalty. I mean, the forearm slowed down Lambo Arfides enough. He did end up going back and completing the scoring pass, but it ate time off of the penalty. So now we've got Quadricorn back on the track. He is tangling with the white wall in front of him.
Quadricorn still on his initial pass. We've got another 5 points put on the board the hard way as Quadricorn breaks free and is ready to score. We've got 26 seconds remaining in the jam.
And as Lambo Arfidi's coming around the straightaway between turns 2 and 3, decides to show that he works out, lifts his shirt a little bit, displaying his abs for the audience in attendance.
16 points for Lambo Arfidi's, 0 for the Mafia, 99-69 point differential now, 30 points between these two teams. 5 minutes and 10 seconds remaining in this first half. Jammer penalties. Jammer penalties will kill you all of the time. We've got an official review being called by Uinta now with 5 minutes remaining in the half. Once again, teams are granted one official review per half. If they are awarded their official review, they will retain that official review for the first half. Now, that's not like wishing for more wishes. They can't keep having successful official reviews. It's only once that you get it back.
You can only have a maximum of 2, but also thanks to a recent clarification, you no longer have to have a specific thing that you're questioning on an official review. Because before, it was teams would use it as an extra timeout in the half, and they would go in, how do you like my boots? How do you feel about tacos? And now they can just say, you know what, this is just an official review, give us a little breathing room, just using it as a timeout without actually expending one of our 3 timeouts for the game. But, you know, looking at how this game's been going on, so far both official reviews have been, we actually have questions about what's happening. We're hoping to get some information relatively soon. The officials are huddling to make sure that they've got the right call, and hopefully we'll be able to pass some information along to you.
You know what you can pass along for us would be a few dollars on that Donate Now button. Also, we do want to encourage that the Association of Flat Track Derby Announcers is working in tandem with the Mayday Mayhem tournament to provide online feedback from you, the listener, the viewer. You know, even if you are new to Derby, even if you skate, if you announce, if whatever you would like, we now have a feedback form that you can click on. Go to the Association of Flat Track Derby Announcers Facebook page, and you can click on the link for that feedback form and send us your thoughts.
All right, we've got some information about what that official review was. Turns out that Uinta believed that the white jammer had gone into the penalty box and therefore had illegally called off the jam. However, since he had never spent any time in the penalty box and was declared lead jammer, that call-off was perfectly legal. Uinta loses their official review for the half. They'll get one back, you know, in the next 4.5 minutes when we start the second half.
Fuzz with the star for Uinta. He had it in his hand, actually dropped it back around turn 1. So he is skating with that jammer cap in his hand, but out in front, that is number 121, Bobby Light jamming for the Aftershock lead jammer.
Yeah, one of the other changes that's happened with Star Pass rules, you're actually seeing a lot more time where there's an inactive jammer. That doesn't mean that they don't have some of the benefits, but the main thing is they don't get the points. So you can have the jammer cap in your hand, you just don't score any points as long as it's not on your head.
Hot Fuzz right now, still in the pack on his initial scoring pass. Bobby Light out. He does pick up that jammer lap point, 5 points for Bobby Light. Fuzz right now with the cap stashed in his hand. Beastang and the rest of the Aftershocks backing it all the way up around the track. Bobby Light goes ahead and gets through, picks up another 5th jammer point there, calls off the jam, 10-0 in that jam, brings the Aftershocks over the century mark, 109-69.
Yeah, Fuzz got thrown to the outside with disdain by Michael C. Just tossed him. Clean hit, and then the smart backwards bridging by San Diego, forcing him to go back a third of the way across the track before he could re-enter. He was back behind the jam line before he was able to re-enter legally.
Jam back in play. That's we've got a new jammer being fielded for Uinta Madness, and that is a back block being assessed on the Aftershocks jammer. Uinta out and ready to score.
And apparently in this jam, if you're with the Aftershocks and you've got a fancy helmet cover, you're going to spend some time in the penalty box. The pivot also in the box right now. And
That's Robo out in front, 5 points. That's power points as jammer for the Aftershocks is on his feet. That's a 1-2-6 Lambo Arfides. Robo right now in control of the pack. Does a little bit of a spread eagle, stay inbounds, fighting with 1 to beat. Aftershocks going to find that bridge over troubled water, and 4 more points as Robo calls off the jam.
Well, and Robo definitely a more imposing figure than a lot of the other jammers. So what we were seeing in that jam is we were seeing San Diego trying that same tactic of, we're going to hit you, we're going to knock you out. And Robo pretty much absorbed the hits, stood his ground, and was able to pick up a couple of points on that second pass before he just needed to call it off. And so they can reset. B-Stang's going to be jamming right now for the Aftershocks.
B-Stang up against Cher at the top of the pack. Haunter bracing against him, but B-Stang out in front, lead jammer for the Aftershocks.
And that's another new jammer for Uinta. That's number 9, Panamaniac. But absorbed inside of the pack, just getting enveloped, not having a lot of luck so far solving the riddle that is the Aftershocks wall.
Haunter up against B-Stang in the pack. A few other blockers coming in to help Panamaniac, drafting off of his defensive line. Gets caught in the fray and hit. And B-Stang's jam ref looking for confirmation of a few points. 3 points being awarded before that call-off. 3-0 in favor of the Aftershocks. They're now at 112, 78, 36 seconds remaining in the jam, or in the period. We will have at least one more jam.
Definitely, and you know, with the speed that these have been going, the fact that both teams still have most of their timeouts, we might see two. But it's going to all depend on what Lambo Arfides feels like doing. He's picked up lead jammer status, so he's got full control of the clock as well. Quadricorn gets bounced to the inside, has not yet completed an initial pass, and now bounced outside. That was by number 78, T-Dog.
Quadricorn deciding to just hop on the track for some reason. He's going to pick up a track cut. Lambo Arfides with that period clock expired for us. Now in control of the jam. This is jam time now, headed into halftime. He gets knocked to the infield by Mr. Testosterone, forced to reset back behind the pack.
And some strong blocking right there. Fuzz working in tandem with Infane. Those two doing a good job. Mr. Testosterone helping as well. Everyone is doing a pretty good job slowing down Lambo Arfides. He does pick up 4 points, a no pass, no point situation. And then he is awarded the full 5 instead. They took away the no pass, no point and gave him all 5.
That penalty not ending before the end of the first half. We will start the second half with Quadricorn in the penalty box, as penalties do carry over jam to jam and period to period. Score now heading into our 15-minute halftime. Aftershocks on top, 117. Oh, we are doing a 10-minute halftime, 117-78, and we will take a quick break here and be back to recap the first half and look forward to the second. Once again, you are tuning in to the 2015 Mayday Mayhem coverage here in Loveland, Colorado. My name is Ms. Communication.
My name is Wilhelm Scream.
And we'll see you in a few minutes. Break down. We took a look at the penalties.
Unfortunately, we weren't able to get penalty numbers, but we've kind of got a feel that we know that right now. We talked about it. Jammer penalties. That's been the big thing for both sides, and the Mafia needs to minimize those.
We had 20 jams in the last half. 10 of those jams garnered lead jammer status for Uinta. However, when we take out the power jams that were given up by the lead jammer, that's only 7 lead jammer statuses for Uinta in the first half. Lead jammer status held 8 times by the Aftershocks. of those 20. Again, really low numbers as far as who is in control of that lead jammer status. This is by and large due to power jams being given up by one or the other team's jammer headed to the box. 5 power jams given up by the Aftershocks, and 7, a big 7 given up by Uinta in that first half. By far, Uinta needs to have those jammers' feet on the track, not their tukuses in the box.
And with the Aftershocks jammer rotation, those 2 differences in power jams, that right there could be the 40 points that are separating the 2 teams right now coming into the second half.
High-scoring jam in the first half by the Aftershocks belongs to number 126, Lambo Arfides. He had 10 power points and then added another 6 to that, net of 16 points for a high-scoring jam. For Uinta, a 9-point jam belonging to Mr. Testosterone being their high-scoring jam. So really not too many very big jams that we have here, but yes, those power points coming into play for the Aftershocks and giving us our lead. We are going to go ahead and turn it back to the track now as the game is about to get in play. Mountain State's Cutthroat Mafia again in black and blue, Aftershocks in white and red. Uinta starting out with their jammer, number 1111 Quadricorn, in the penalty box. He is on his feet, so power start belongs to 126 Lambo Arfides.
And Lambo Arfides trying to come around on the outside, gets bumped out off the track, then steps on the inside, cuts through, and grabs lead jammer status for the Aftershock, looking to add some more points early on in the second half.
Track cut being assessed to number 777, Lucky Bastard, blocker for the Aftershock. Quadricorn still stuck in the pack as Lambo Arfides gets out and picks up 5 points.
Yeah, Quadricorn tried to dodge a hit from Just Mike, went up high, and Just Mike just lowered the boom, taking Quadricorn out at the waist, which is slowing him down. He still hasn't completed his initial pass. Lambo Arfides already picking up points, and he's in the middle of the pack on another scoring pass.
Quadricorn being knocked to the infield, I believe, by number 515, Just Mike. Lambo Arfides up at the top of the pack, picking up his 5 points. We've got out of play being assessed to Robo, number 7, and the pivot for Uinta.
That's Chevelle Bob, number 7D, so a little bit of trouble. Not the jammer, though. So that's sort of a positive, I guess, for Uinta.
Quadricorn right now with a full 4 Aftershock blockers to beat. Lambo Arfides picking up 0 further points. Score now 9-0. 126.78 total, 28 minutes left in our game.
That's what his friends call him. He's Mr. Testosterone.
Aftershocks and Uinta Madness are also joined by Denver's Ground Control. You'll see them play a little bit later today at 2:30 p.m. Mountain Time.
And an official timeout being called. Looks like a scoreboard clarification needing to be made. PH Diva coming over to make sure that the scoreboard's got everything exactly correct. We're looking at a score right now of 131-78, but we'll see how that pans through.
Official stuff.
Hard-hitting first half, many trips to the penalty box. Uinta right now with 2 blockers in the penalty box. They've only got 2 out on the track, a full 4 for the Aftershocks. And we will go ahead and call the game back into play. Mr. Testosterone on the line for Uinta.
And that is number 121. That is Bobby Light jamming for the Aftershock. And a moment of chagrin as he just stepped out, picks up a track cut penalty, but so did Mr. Testosterone. It's now a race to the penalty box to see who gets to sit down first for what might be a second.
Bobby Light sent to the penalty box and
returned almost immediately while Mr. Testosterone sat for about 5 seconds.
Well, Mr. Testosterone actually still seated in the penalty box. I wonder if perhaps he picked up an insubordination and is serving a full 30-second penalty. He's being told to stand right now.
That is making this power jam for Bobby Light. Also, Bobby Light being pointed at, he is being indicated as lead jammer. So there's some confusion, at least from my perspective, on what exactly is happening on the track. Bobby Light is in scoring position and fighting his way through. Looks like he's going to grab another at least 4 points. Yep, 4 points being held up, and calls off the jam.
Cher losing his contact lens on the side of the track. If you noticed right here off of turn 1, he heads to his penalty box. Yes, fixing his contact lens in the penalty box right now. Penalty box full for both teams except for their jammers right now.
And appears no confusion on the last jam, and number 3 for San Diego, Boo. First time he's been jamming today, and he picks up lead jammer status for the Aftershock.
Battle of the threes right now with Fuzz in the star with the blue and white. Boo getting knocked to the outfield. And Boo getting tricked. She gets that cut called on him. Fuzz out, ready to score. We are going to lose the lead jammer status and have another minute 30-second marathon jam here on ColoradoSports.TV. Fuzz fighting on the inside. One of his skates, though, goes out of bounds. Great line awareness there, although he could have re-entered behind number 515, just Mike, as Mike took himself out of play to complete that hit.
Oh, and now the hit there, the collision, actually leads to Fuzz losing the jammer cap and picking up a track cut penalty. That's going to be an unfortunate situation for Uinta. And mainly losing the jammer, that's going to release Boo from the penalty box. He's going to come back around. He's now on the power jam, looking to add some more points to the Aftershock's lead.
Fuzz will, of course, serve the same amount of penalty time as Boo. It appears that perhaps Uinta's pivot has picked up the star. Now, of course, the pivot cannot put the star on his head because it was not handed to him, but at the very least, he can do a handoff to Fuzz when Fuzz gets back in. He is now on his feet in the penalty box.
And that'll also keep the Aftershocks from kind of circling the jammer cap and make sure that Fuzz can't ever get to it. Fuzz handed the jammer cap now. He's going to try and come around, gets pushed to the outfield, trying to find an opening. Boo completing another scoring pass for 5 more points for the Aftershocks. And Fuzz currently still inactive, being slowed down. Michael Seed dropping a couple of big hits to keep Fuzz from being comfortable enough to put the star back on his head.
4 points being held onto by Fuzz, likely residual from when he went to the penalty box. Right now, Uinta with 1 blocker down in the box. Score 150-82, 24 minutes left in our first of 3 men's games. Coming up at 2:30 p.m. right here on track 1 Mountain Time. That's when we'll have our second men's game of the weekend. That's going to be San Diego Aftershock taking on Denver Roller Derby's Ground Control, who had an amazing debut last weekend at the Big O tournament. On the track now, Mr. Testosterone out and lead.
And as Lambo Arfides also completing his initial pass on the inside. Mr. Testosterone takes a little bit of air, completes a scoring pass, and that is 4 more points that being added to the Mafia's total. Going to try and chip away, getting themselves back in.
You know, 150-82 with 23 minutes left in this half. Again, we are going to see Uinta needing to concentrate on keeping the star-capped gentleman from taking a seat in the box. But if they can do that, they can certainly chip away at this lead, and we will see a comeback by the Cutthroat Mafia. We've got number 11111, Quadricorn, on the line in blue, and he is skating against number 121, Bobby Light. Bobby Light out and lead.
And Bobby Light finding an opening and a big hole created by Just Mike to allow Bobby Light to sneak through, grabbing another 4 points, calling off the jam.
Apologize, that was number 9, Panamaniac, with the star for Uinta.
Uinta also, one thing that would help them, aside from keeping their jammer on the track, is they need a little bit more of that trickery that we saw a couple jams ago from In Thane to draw the Aftershock jammer into an inadvertent track cut. It was that sneaky move, didn't end up working out heavily in Uinta's favor, but it's a good start.
Well, you know those tricksy cutthroats. They will evade you with bait every time. Jam is in play. That is LTW Age, Mr. Testosterone in blue at the top of the pack, and he becomes lead jammer.
It takes a couple hits from Baby J and B-Stang, but bounces right back up.
That's number 126, Lambo Arfides with the star for the Aftershock. Aftershock's relying on Lambo Arfides. Lambo Arfides now in the fray, has passed members of the black and blue team. Testosterone finding on the inside.
And Mr. Testosterone thought he'd found an opening on the inside. He got bumped to the infield, stepped back on the track. That is a track cut penalty. That is going to put Lambo Arfides on a power jam, and that is the last thing that Uinta want to see right now. Lambo Arfides spinning and dancing around on the outside line, just keeps all of the wheels on the track inside the pink demarcation marks. A very impressive and agile move by Lambo Arfides to avoid that track cut.
10 points right now for Lambo Arfides, and he's going to pick up another 5 points. That's a total of 10 on this power play. Mr. Testosterone on his feet. Aftershock unable to call off the jam as Mr. Testosterone was lead. We are going to go the remaining 42 seconds of the jam. And we have a back block penalty being assessed to Lambo Arfides. Oh, sorry, there was a back block assessed to number 3, Fuzz. Lambo Arfides through, and 5 more points as Testosterone is also through. 4 points for Uinta.
And Lambo Arfides just finding the backside of Robo. Robo slowing him down and knocking him to the outfield. But now Mr. Testosterone forced to recycle back, and he's got to come back in behind B-Stang, who's going to draw him all the way to the pivot line.
4 additional points for Fides as the jam gets called. An additional 1 point, little single there for Lambo. 0 points for Mr. Testosterone in that pass. 24-4 net gain for the Aftershocks. Aftershocks now following their ranking and pulling ahead 178-90 with 19 minutes and 42 seconds ticking down on our game clock.
B-Stang right now fighting, trying to get some extra points, trying to get a ghost point specifically. And looks like it is going to be awarded. That ghost point, there was 1 Mafia player in the box, but the jammer was passed, awarding the point, and because they were in the engagement zone, that's going to give that additional ghost point. So we've got that 179-90 score, 19 and a half to go. Mafia starting to see that their penalties really adding up and making it a huge hill to climb.
We've got Bobby Light, number 121, with the star for the Aftershock. And he is going to pick up a forearm penalty. Bobby Light, pretty penalty heavy as a jammer. He has actually garnered a jammer penalty 2 of the 3 times that he has jammed in this half. We've got number 111 Quadricorn in for the Uinta Madness.
And Quadricorn was trying to swim through the pack earlier, gets bounced to the outside and forced to go retreat. Went back about a third of the way across the track again. Good backwards bridging by the Aftershocks. Now Quadricorn taking a big hit by number 77, Baby J, and gets thrown to the ground by 777, Lucky Bastard. Just Mike on his way to the penalty box for a multiplayer block call. And a good penalty kill by the Aftershock as Bobby Light back on the track already. And Quadricorn not completing a scoring pass.
Bobby Light being recycled all the way to the rear of the pack. Quadricorn now caught in a trap behind 777 Lucky Bastard. Uinta losing a block or 2. The penalty box as Light is out and ready to score. Quadricorn looking a little breathed out there. 777 though headed to the penalty box on a penalty for the Aftershock. That's Lucky Bastard. Quadricorn back in the fray, still trying to complete his initial pass as Bobby Light picks up 5 points.
Now Bobby Light, who went to the penalty box, just really applying the good penalty kill by the Aftershocks. Quadricorn finally through, but you can see the toll that all of those hits took. He just doesn't have anything left in the tank for the rest of this jam. Luckily for him, there's only about 5 seconds left in the jam. He's going to get a time to catch his breath and try and move forward. Little spin. He grabs a few points on the pass, 4 points before the jam expires. 3 picked up by Bobby Light on his last scoring pass. But the Aftershock's pulling away.
Total of 12-4 in that last jam, 191-94. Aftershocks lengthening their lead. 17 minutes left in this game. Official review being called by Uinta.
That is an official review being called by Cutthroat.
Once again, our sponsors of Mayday Mayhem 2015, Derby Supply High Altitude. They're located in person in Colorado Springs, and online you can find them at www.derbysupply.net. They are offering this weekend our very first overall MVP tournament award in our women's tournament. We are super excited to give away that Derby Supply High Altitude overall MVP tomorrow morning. Yes, afternoon.
As we are in day 2 of Mayday Mayhem 2015, hosted by the Slaughterhouse Derby Girls here in beautiful Loveland, Colorado. Day 1 was full of group play. Today we're in the middle of group play on the women's side of it, throwing a little bit of seasoning with the men's derby happening today with 3 men's derby bouts. Tomorrow we've got 2 junior bouts to keep things, keep some variety going in the tournament. But later this afternoon, we're going to start the knockout phase of Mayday Mayhem 2015. Based off the seeding from that group play, we're going to seed all the teams. That's going to set up the tournament in the knockout phase to figure out who's going to advance and have a shot at the Mayday Mayhem 2015 championship.
Coming up next here on track 1 at 11:30 Mountain, we are going to see number 1 seed in Pool 2, Oklahoma City Roller Derby, take on the number 3 seed team, Slaughterhouse Derby Girls, again at 11:30. We have a self-updating bracket online. If you will go to Facebook and like Mayday Mayhem, you will find a link to a Google document. That Google document is updated with scores after every game and then will be updated as we seed into the bracket. Our first game for bracket play will happen on track 2 at 4 p.m. Mountain Time. So after our last game there before 4 o'clock, we will go ahead and you will want to go and check that to see how our bracket has seeded out for.
And all we know at present is that that game will feature whichever team took second place in Group 1.
We've got some fancy action happening between turn 3 and 4. Cher out there giving a little trot around on his hands, and it looks like Cher going to be wearing the star for the first time in the game. Number 175. You know, you could certainly count on Cher to keep things interesting.
Cher, whose uniform is made of ideas and string, deciding to do a little display for the audience.
Ideas and string are what keep us together, and also what keeps ColoradoSports.TV together are your ideas, string, and dollars. Make it rain on us by clicking the Donate Now button. We've seen some really great action right now. My cohort, Wilhelm Scream, is getting clarification from our referee liaison. Wilhelm Scream, tell us about that official review.
Well, what was happening during that was Uinta was questioning a no call on a failure to reform and an out-of-play penalty that should have been assessed to one of the San Diego blockers. The number I heard was White 78, which would be T-Dog. That penalty is going to be upheld. They're going to be assessed a penalty. It is clearly not against T-Dog because he's standing on his bench, but there will be one San Diego blocker heading into the penalty box to clarify. Actually, correction, now that the officials are bringing the information over to the teams, T-Dog is heading in, picking out that failure to reform penalty due to his contact with the jammers out of play. The Uinta Mafia, they get their official review back for the second half.
Correct. They will retain their official review. They will have a second one to use at their leisure later on. On the line for the Aftershocks, we've got number 3, Boo, and he is skating again against number 175, Cher. Boo garnering himself a back blocking penalty. He had a track cut earlier on in this half. Cher now the most fabulous lead jammer and only jammer out on the track.
Cher getting tangled up. Again, that's B-Stang slow to get up. Cher just bowls through. That is 5 points in the air for the Uinta Mafia. The Cutthroat Mafia looking and Cher directing almost with the force, directing his team to engage against the Aftershocks, trying to push through, but now being slowed down. That is 777. Lucky Bastard really stifling Cher, and now he's dealing with B-Stang.
Cher up at the top of the pack, 3 blockers right now. Aftershocks trying to build a bridge, but that bridge is eventually going to go to nowhere. We've got a forearm penalty being assessed on number 77, Baby J, as Cher gets through 4 or 5 points. That power play ending for Uinta Madness.
Now Boo back on the track, and he is absorbed into the Cutthroat Mafia wall, forced out and actually pulled back to turn number 3. Good back bridging, not as far as we've seen from San Diego, but some good back bridging by Uinta, pulling Boo back. Another 3 points picked up by Uinta, closing the gap slowly. Time is still somewhat open for them to really close that gap. We've got a score of 191 to 108, correction, 107, and 15 and a half to go. Still some time left, but the Mafia really need to clamp down.
Mafia needing to clamp down, needing to, again, capitalize like this on power jams, perhaps maybe even change up their jammer lineup and get a few fresh legs into the game. And we are into this next jam on the track. We've got number 420, Milk Toast Boy, on the line for Uinta, but out in front, that is number 126, Lambo Arfides.
And Milk Toast Boy completing his initial pass with an apex hop, just a little bit of the apex, but he caught air, got around. But Lambo Arfides, good derby awareness, calling off the jam. 4 points for the Aftershocks. Score of 191 to 107, 14:45 to go. Correction, 195 now added.
14 minutes left here in the game. Aftershocks showing that they are indeed ranked 13th in the Men's Roller Derby Association. We are, of course, counting down for the top 10 to make it to St. Louis this fall.
Well, and with rankings, just like on the women's side, it's not quite the rankings calculator, but points matter, and we're going to see if Bobby Light can pick up any. Instead, Bobby Light picking up a forearm penalty. That's going to put number 9, Panamaniac, on a power jam. Still looking to complete his initial pass, but he's got B-Stang to tangle with at the front. B-Stang pushing him into the infield. Panamaniac is lead jammer.
Big hit, taking out B-Stang by Mr. Testosterone. That allows B-Stang to go out of play so that Panamaniac can re-enter, but Panamaniac taking his time getting back in means that B-Stang up on his feet, trapping him at the top of the pack, but he's going to have to let him go.
B-Stang screaming at his team for not extending the bridge far enough. Panamaniac assessing the situation, sees that Bobby Light's standing up in the penalty box. They want to try and get that lead jammer status next time around. So he calls off the jam with no points, but they're going to reset, still in a power jam situation.
Must be really hard to be a civil engineer and a derby player at the same time. Build bridge, build bridge. Not like that.
It's mostly the civil part that's so hard for the derby players. So we got a score still 195, 107, 13.
You're so welcome.
13 minutes to go. I couldn't have made that joke without MCOM throwing me under that extended bridge to nowhere.
And we've got action back on the track. Bobby Light in from the penalty box. Again, he can garner that lead jammer status out of the box. He's up at the top of the pack. We've got 1111 Quadricorn out there right now. And Bobby Light picks up lead jammer status for the Aftershocks.
Quadricorn has not had a lot of luck on the jam line. Collides. I believe that's B-Stang at the front of the pack, dropping Quadricorn. Good counter blocking. B-Stang just absorbed the hit and threw a little bit of the energy back. It was a veritable physics lesson being conducted. And correction, that's just Mike that made that contact.
Big hit on Bobby Light on the outfield. The Uinta Madness calling for the track cut, but no ref saw that call. So, unfortunately, we're going to see him call off the jam. Total of 5-0 for Bobby Light in that jam. 200 points for Aftershocks, 107 Mafia, 93 points separating these teams with a little less than 12 minutes remaining.
There's still time if Uinta can get a couple of big jams, but right now they've also got to realize the clock is an enemy. You're going to get a little help with an official timeout. That's at least going to stop the game clock from ticking down any further. But 93 points, 11 and a half to go. They really need big jams. They really need to keep those jammers off the track. And I think you were right a few jams ago of maybe it's time to change up the jammer rotation a little bit. We saw a hint of that with Cher coming out, with Panamaniac coming out. It's really the question that I still have is the use of Quadricorn. He's not having a lot of luck.
Right now, 515 Just Mike asking for an official review. It's like we're going to have some chatting by our head ref. We've got the ladies in pink and black. So I was telling my friend earlier today during the Happy Valley game that just happened here as the first game on track 1 today, that I would love to, when I skate someday, to skate for a team from Utah, to be at a tournament where the Uinta Madness are, because, man, they will cheer their brains out for any team from Utah participating here. Happy Valley now, a sea of pink and black off of turn 3, showing their support for their brothers in arms. It's great to see the camaraderie, and this is actually one of my favorite things about the relationship between men's and women's roller derby. So many derby teams existing in, in sort of a relationship with the women's league. Uinta, of course, skating with Wasatch. We'll see men's ground control from Denver Roller Derby. Denver Roller Dolls actually rebranding their league to encompass the fact that we have ground control joining us with the MRDA, and then of course also to affirm the fact that we have a juniors team that you will see play tomorrow.
Yeah, it's one of those things that women's roller derby really just took off and laid the groundwork, and it makes sense. It makes perfect sense that the men would want to play, and why not tap into that resource, that wealth of knowledge that the women have of here's how to build a league, here's how to set up events, here's how to just play the game. So yeah, there's a lot of camaraderie. It's guys that are boyfriends or husbands of the women's skaters are saying, hey, it's my turn now. I get to go and play, and there's that friendship, that camaraderie, and you'll see scrimmages where they're playing against each other.
Team timeout right now for the Aftershocks. So we started with an official timeout. Looks like the Aftershocks wanted an official review, but we're not calling it an official review right now. It is still a team timeout.
We're going to be coming out of the timeout. Looks like there are 2 blockers in the box for the Aftershocks. There's Just Mike and 77 Baby J. They're going to start out off the track. That's going to give an opportunity for Uinta, holding a 4-2 pack advantage.
LTW8, Mr. Testosterone with the star for Uinta. He will be skating against number 126 Lambo Arfides. And Mr. Testosterone with a burst of speed off the line, lead jammer Uinta.
And something we haven't seen very often, Lambo Arfides pushed to the outfield and then to the infield. He's not completed his initial pass yet. Mr. Testosterone already picking up 5 points.
Mr. Testosterone through, but his skate slides out of bounds. We've got a track cut being called. He is going to go and sit down. Lambo Arfides owning this power jam situation right now.
Correct. Oh. He is being pulled back on the track. Thugs is taking away the penalty, saying, turns out you didn't cut the track. There was almost a shared smile between the two when the penalty was initially called. Yeah, you just missed it. And then Thugs reassessed, said, no, you didn't miss after all.
3158 B-Stang calling for an official review in the center of the track for the Aftershocks. Probably it was. There's no way his skate wasn't out of bounds. They will probably go ahead and ask for that track cut to be evaluated.
And it's all about the perspective of the officials. Thugs thought she saw it at one point out. Then maybe reanalyze and it was on the line, not over the line, and that was what led to the change call. Now Beastang trying to get that question back in the official's mind of, did I really see that?
Well, of course, when you're officiating while you're skating, your perspective is a little skewed, kind of like when you're officiating while sitting in your armchair at home watching ColoradoSports.TV. And again, we bring this service to you for free all weekend long, 2015 Mayday Mayhem coverage, all for free, so that you, the viewer at home, can armchair referee these games. And you know what? Armchair referees need to make their contribution as well. Please consider clicking on that donate button and continuing Colorado Sports TV's ability to let you referee from your armchair.
Make this an official review of your bank account. See how much you can give to help out ColoradoSports.TV. Make sure that we've got a continuation through Mayday Mayhem 2015 and all events that ColoradoSports.TV bring to the forefront.
Lucky Bastard just now waving to the camera at home. Lucky Bastard is a transfer from Roller Derby, Mexicali, which is a on-the-border roller derby team. I do not remember. There is one team from the kind of Tijuana area there by San Diego that all play in lucha masks. I am not sure if that's Roller Derby Mexicali or not. If you are friends with me on Facebook and you can send me a little message and get me corrected, because I know I've got some friends from Southern California watching right now.
If you're friends with me on Facebook and you can just send me images of that, because I just want to see a bunch of lucha masks on derby skaters. That's amazing.
But imagine this like a lucha mask. That's a full head mask on your face too, and you put a helmet on.
So if they lose, do they have to give up the lucha mask to the team that they lost to?
I am uncertain.
See, it's that level that we need to find out. So if you have knowledge about this, please let us know. Let us know on Facebook, or find a way to ping ColoradoSports.TV while you're making your donation. Send a lucha mask to us. We will happily accept it, and we'll wear it for the rest of the weekend.
Wilhelm Scream will wear the lucha mask. I do not wear lucha masks. As far as I'm concerned, there's only one person who wears a lucha mask in Derby, and he retired that mask several years ago.
And it was a needed retirement.
Official review right now. It appears Beastang still being a lawyer in the center of the track. We've got everybody kind of at a standstill. We've got the call to come back. Wilhelm Scream right now getting us the 4-1-1 on that official review. Right now 200 to 111, 10:28 frozen on the clock.
We were exactly correct. That Beastang was challenging why that cut call was waved off. The initiator on the block that forced the cut also went off the track, went out of bounds. Therefore, they removed the track cut. And that means that the Aftershocks lose their official review for the second half.
Boo with the star for the gentleman in white and red. We've got a big hit being dealt out. Is that number 7 in the center?
I believe that is Robo down right now. He got a huge hit, and it almost took out one of the officials.
Jam ref playing a little stay out of the way. Of course, Robo not forcing the call off on the Jam 4 injury because he is removed from play. We have EMTs out on the track, but the Jam will remain in play because Robo is out of the line of play for this Jam. Right now, only jammer of record is number 3, Boo. He's got 5 points up on the board. He goes ahead and calls off the Jam.
And it was sitting with a 4-3 pack advantage as well that helped knife through, grabbing a couple extra points. We've got a 215 to 111 score. As we currently stand, 9 minutes, 15 seconds left in the second half. And we're seeing the Aftershocks really put the hammer down and assert their ranking.
Folks from Salt Lake City that are watching the broadcast, I am making a little scribbled note on number 7, Robo. We will, if we don't see him play in a Jam forward here before the end of the game, we've got an official timeout being called. Again, folks at home, if you are concerned, which you should be, I would be, we will, if we don't see Robo return to play, I will make sure that I follow up with Uinta to get you a follow-up. You just have to tune into the next game here on track 1 at 11:30. That's going to be between Oklahoma City Roller Derby and the Slaughterhouse Derby girls, and we'll get you that follow-up.
A very quick official timeout. Just looks like some short clarification.
We are going to have Uinta's jammer in the penalty box to start this jam. My guess is that Robo had picked up a penalty before he ended up in the center of the track. We're going to have a substitute jammer in his place in the box, and now we've got number 121 out on the track, Bobby Light, and he is lead jammer for the Aftershocks.
And Bobby Light staring down an even four while both teams full complement of blockers on the track. And Khan trying to push Bobby Light to the outside. Bobby Light just fighting, staying on the line, keeping himself on the track, completing a scoring pass, and takes another one. Big hit for Mr. Testosterone, and then gets tangled up. A low block penalty being assessed to Bobby Light. He has a few things to say about that, but he's going to take the long trip around, already past the point of no return to the penalty box. That's going to create an opportunity for Uinta. They've got a power jam now, and it's going to be a full 2-minute jam.
Uinta substituting Chevelle Bob, number 70, in to serve that penalty, but now we've got a Uinta Madness member in the center of the track. Got an official timeout being called. So jam not called due to injury, jam called due to, well.
The timeout being called, the jam called off due to possible.
And Chevelle Bob's bounced back up as well. We're going to keep an eye on him and Robo both. We're seeing that physicality, some hard hits being laid down, and you know the men just hit so hard that sometimes these things are unavoidable. It might have just been like he got the wind knocked out of him.
2:20, right now. 5 points for Bobby Light in that last jam. We're going to bring it back here with two new jammers on the jam line. Just under 8 minutes remaining in this game.
This is going to be a power jam start for the Cutthroat Mafia. There's Bobby Light sitting in the penalty box, and that is number 420, Milk Toast Boy, picking up lead jammer status.
Milk Toast Boy around the track. Pack stopped here on turn 1. Mr. Testosterone coming in to clear the way for Milk Toast Boy. Milk Toast Boy up at the top of the pack. We're going to see some civil engineering skills. Aftershocks not building a bridge further out, and we've got a grand slam for the Cutthroat Mafia.
And Milk Toast Boy fighting his way past Austin and Johnny Guns, now running into 777 Lucky Bastard. Gets bounced to the outfield, recycled back, but not back as deep as we've seen in the past. Completing another scoring pass, taking the inside line. Another 5 points picked up by Uinta.
Cher with a big hit, holding Bobby Light at the back of the pack, but Cher is going to head out to the penalty box. Oh, Cher being told to return to the track as Milk Toast Boy, another 5 points, 15 total right now for the Cutthroat Mafia. Bobby Light out and ready to score.
Milk Toast Boy just knifing through again, calling off the jam after another 3 points. Big scoring pass, big jam for Milk Toast Boy and the Cutthroat Mafia.
3 points further, or 12 points further, 2 points further on there, 17-0 in that last jam for Milk Toast Boy. 6 minutes and 22 seconds remaining in the game. We've got number 777 Lucky Bastard caged in the penalty box for the Aftershocks. They will start one man down.
He's on the line with the Aftershocks.
Mr. Testosterone conducting traffic at the top of the pack. It's number 3, Fuzz, back in for the first time here, or second time here in the second half. He picks up lead jammer status. And on the inside, number 126, Lambo Arfides, out and ready to score.
Fuzz looking to start a scoring pass, gets bounced to the outside by guess who? 31-58, B-Stang. B-Stang now just leaning on him. Arfides has knifed through the pack, grabbed 4 points. And Fuzz has lead jammer status, but he is content to just keep trying to push, even though Feedy's already back on his second scoring pass.
Feedy's, though, shoved all the way back to the back. Mr. Testosterone is like, come over here, sweetheart. As
I have a few things to say to you with my hips, and my hips don't lie.
Mr. Testosterone and Shakira.
He's a huge Shakira fan.
All
huge
right.
Shakira fan.
4 points on the board for Fuzz. Fuzz now in the fray of the pack, and Lambo Arfides now with another 4 points. Unsure why Fuzz continues to let the jam clock run on this jam.
Finally calling it off. I think he just felt he had a good head of steam going and wanted to keep it going. 8-4 is the total result. Correction now, 8-7. The total result on that jam. So only one additional point picked up by the Aftershocks, but every point the Aftershocks get that's more than the Mafia is just that much more of a hurdle to cross. And there's under 5 minutes left to go. I don't know how much is left in the Cutthroat Mafia.
2:28, 1:35. We are under the 5-minute mark. Mafia letting the jam clock run out on them in that last jam, working not in their favor, though. Uinta putting in Cher, number 175, jamming against number 93, Waterboy. Waterboy's, this is his first jam here in the second half, and he is lead jammer.
Yeah, but Cher also through the pack, now coming up in scoring position.
Clockwise block being assessed on number 77, Baby J.
Those blockers are putting themselves in his path.
Cher being leaned on, as is Waterboy. Neither jammer having a lot of luck with the opposing walls right now. Cher trying to push through. We did see Johnny Guns take a slip. Cher is being slowed and stifled completely as Waterboy sneaks around, calls the jam, gets 4 points. Cher did pick up 3, however.
Cher picking up 3 points. That was B-Stang shutting it down at the top of the pack. B-Stang, of course, a well-known double threat in men's roller derby. 2:32, 1:38, 3:23 left in the game. Such an exciting game. We are so excited to have a men's round robin being played. The Aftershocks going to come back again and play here on track 1 at 2:30 Mountain against Denver's Ground Control. Mr. Testosterone with the star for Uinta, and garnering that lead jammer status just in front of Lambo Arfides. Now it's a race for that jammer lap point.
If I had to guess, Mr. Testosterone actually got lead jammer status by a beard over Fides. His beard's a little bit larger.
I believe it's actually Mr. Testosterone's non-lying hips that garnered him lead jammer status.
Well, sure, if you want to follow the rules.
Hips of truth. Mr. Testosterone forced to call off the jam. 2 points for him. We got a team timeout being called for Uinta.
But very close. Both jammers coming out of the pack almost at the exact same time. Mr. Testosterone just getting the ability to control the clock, control the jam. But that speed that we're seeing on the Aftershocks jam side, just keeping the Mafia from really taking advantage of those scoring passes.
B-Stang preaching a good word to Lambo Arfides. It's interesting to have a sermon a day early here in roller derby. B-Stang, of course, well known for several speeches that he likes to give from his soapbox on the track.
Vocal, well-known, and as we've been watching, incredibly talented skater.
2:32, 1:40 right now. Uinta coming back to the track from their team timeout.
And the Not Your Whistle gets a little bit of a jump. Jammer thought that maybe it was for them. Not quite yet. You've got to wait. Jam timer lets them go now.
Returning to the jam line is number 121, Bobby Light for the Aftershocks, and a track cut for Bobby Light. Bobby Light, the most penalized jammer for the Aftershocks here in the second half.
That's going to give an opportunity for Fuzz on a power jam, and Fuzz takes a big hit, gets knocked to the ground. There is a multiplayer block penalty being assessed, and that is going against B-Stang. Fuzz finally completing his initial pass, picking up lead jammer status.
Uinta looking to finish this out strong, 2:32, 1:40, but they don't, I've noticed teams from Utah pay no mind and still rally in the end to complete their game. Fuzz right now fighting against a wall of Aftershocks, number 77. Baby J going to pick up that clockwise block or direction of gameplay. 5 power points for Fuzz as Bobby Light returning to the track. Bobby Light still on his initial pass.
And Fuzz didn't waste any energy trying to engage with Bobby Light. He let him skate past, and Bobby Light, another penalty. This is a forearm being called. That's going to continue the power jam for Fuzz. Fuzz gets knocked to the ground by T-Dog, calling off the jam from his backside.
Team timeout being called by the Cutthroats. Bobby Light assessed by my unofficial scribblings his 6th penalty with that forearm. That's just here in the second half.
Now that
Let me just make sure that he didn't scribble any penalties down here. No, Bobby Light, no jammer penalties for him in the first half. Bobby Light also, though, we saw him pick up a low block penalty a few jams ago. He's going back-to-back penalties now with that track cut and that forearm. One of the things when we talk about the Aftershocks is that the Aftershocks have a tendency to get amped. And when they get amped and get frustrated in the game, they will be prone to penalties.
And even though they are winning in this game, 232 to 149, this is not the result that they were expecting, so they're going to be a little frustrated that the gap isn't as large as they were hoping for. That's what's causing some of the penalties. Honestly, with the way it's been going in the second half, I'm surprised that we haven't seen someone fall out yet.
We have a score of 232, 149, 102 frozen on the clock. We're going to bring it back here. Again, Bobby Light caged in the penalty box. Uinta choosing to field number 175, Cher. Oh, nope, sorry. He was a blocker, looking like a jammer. We've got LTW8, the almost opposite of Cher, Mr. Testosterone, on the track with the star for Uinta, and he becomes lead jammer.
Please, please, please get the image out of my head of Mr. Testosterone dressing like Cher on the track.
No, they are the opposite on the line.
So if the two touch, they will actually explode. It's anti-Cher. Mr. Testosterone takes a hit from number 77, Baby J, but is up. That's a scoring pass completed. 5 more points picked up by Uinta.
Uinta with an end-of-game rally, 26 points left in the jam as Bobby Light is out of the penalty box and ready to score. Testosterone, though, appearing to want to run the clock. He's up against B-Stang, calls off the jam. The Mafia do still have one more timeout. They are jumping up and down to call off because we are going to have one more jam, folks. We've got 8 seconds on that period clock, 232, 154 Aftershocks. Scoreless in the last 3 jams.
And B-Stang once again petitioning inside. He took actually what looked like an ill-advised block. It seemed innocuous at the time when Mr. Testosterone was trying to jump the apex, but it looked, the contact was made just enough. B-Stang was holding his lower back, so maybe not the best decision to engage. And then he was talking to the officials about that, clearly looking for some sort of a penalty. Not going to happen. B-Stang dealing with the road he paved for himself by making that block and initiating, stopping Mr. Testosterone from getting points, but maybe tweaking his back just a little bit.
Just a little bit. We are going to have one final jam. That's Lambo Arfides, number 126, with capes on his legs. I love shin capes, or calf capes. Yeah. And of the team timeout, we've got Cher anchoring it for Uinta, again against Lambo Arfides.
This time you're correct. It's the opposite of Mr. Testosterone. Cher jamming for Uinta. Both jammers trying to fight through. Lambo Arfides being slowed down. Runs into Insane.
Cher up at the top of the pack. A little 1-2 punch from 78 and 93 from the Aftershocks. And Cher makes a break for it. We've got a no pass, no penalty. He will not be in lead. Lambo Arfides goes ahead and gets the lead. Calls off the jam, and this game is going to end like the original Star Wars trilogy.
I'm not sure how Lambo Arfides stayed on the track. He was flailing like Gumby at one point right after turn 2. Somehow stayed on, picked up lead jammer status, and that was all she wrote for the Cutthroat Mafia.
232, 154, our unofficial final. Lambo Arfides, the massive point scorer with 26 points in a jam early on here in the second half. Top scoring jammer for Uinta We've got an 8-point jam by Cher here in the second half, and that alone tells you the story of this game. Power jams abounding. Aftershocks being able to pull away here in the second half, 232-154. If you are tuning in for men's derby, you are going to set your watch for 2:30 p.m. Mountain Time, where we will see San Diego take on Denver Roller Derby's ground control. Uinta will return later and play ground control at 5:30 p.m. Mountain Time. Stay tuned, folks, here on track 1. We've got a game coming up at 11:30. That's Oklahoma City Roller Derby taking on Slaughterhouse Derby Girls in our second women's game on track 1. Thanks again for tuning in to our coverage of 2015 Mayday Mayhem here on ColoradoSports.TV. My name is Miscommunication.
My name is Wilhelm Scream.
And make sure you keep things fair and unbalanced, Derby World. See you later.